This is the new Osprey Unlimited Backpack. Half a century of innovation has culminated in the industry-changing Osprey Unlimited series designed by founder Mike Pfotenhauer and Osprey's innovation team. A first-of-its-kind, 3D printed Fitscape lumbar with carbon DLS technology offers supreme ventilation, fine-tuned support, and anti-slip grip.
Wow, that was so eloquent. How'd you come up with that?
I was just reading it off the Osprey website. Hey, did you bring the backpack?
Yeah, just give me a sec. I gotta take all my dirty laundry out of it from the laundromat.
You did what?
I'm kidding.
You almost got fired again, Emmett. You really did. I sort of feel like when you buy a backpack that comes with its own duffel bag, that screams premium. All right, so this is really gonna be more of an overview, like a first look. I did use this on a backpacking trip most recently. If you missed that video, we'll make sure we put it in the description below. Took this probably 30 miles or so over a few days and packed it out with about 35 pounds-ish. That was including everything, food, water, and fuel. I'm gonna try my best to tell you things that I don't like about this backpack. It's very difficult to do. There are a few things that are sort of like, you know, I'm not really sure why they did that, but other than that, this thing is epic. This is probably the most amazing backpack I've ever seen. But I will say this, the biggest problem with this backpack is the extreme obvious. It is $700. Let's talk about some really cool features about this backpack, like just right out the gate. This here opens up from the bottom. There are backpacks that do this, but not a ton, and it's just nice to be able to have this feature. But you can also sort of access it from a top loader perspective. It opens up here as well, literally to the same compartment, so that's kind of nice. It does come with its own detachable. They call this a lumbar pad. I'd call it a fanny pack, you know what I mean? This is for like, you get to camp and you're like, ooh, I wanna go day hiking now. And then you've got this, and it catches nicely back here. Comfortable, I guess. This has its own hydration port on it as well, so you can actually put a little bladder in here and run a hose through it somewhere. Hang on. Oh, right here. You can run a hose through here if you want to. I guess that's nice if you're into that. I'm not a bladder guy, like a water bladder guy, but you don't have to go into the backpack to get to your water bladder. You can actually access it from the outside of the backpack. Right here, there's your water bladder right there. So that's really, really nice for you water bladder people. That means that when you get to wherever you're refilling your bladder or whatever, you don't have to pull everything out of your backpack to get to your water bladder. It's right there. So that's really nice. It also has one singular hip belt pocket, which is nice. I'm not sure why they didn't put a second one over here. Maybe they were trying to stay below a threshold weight. The problem with this hip belt pocket that I found though is this breaks the cardinal rule, which is you can't open it with one hand. You need two hands to open this hip belt pouch. That was very frustrating to me. I'm like, really? $700? You have an attached hip belt pouch and I need two hands to open this thing up? So I'd have to reach over here, hold it here, and then you have to hold it tight back here. So this back panel here is totally ventilated. I mean, we're talking ventilated around the entire backpack, even around your hip. So if you notice at the top here, Emmett, this is like a screen down here where you would normally see on other backpacks, this would be one big thick piece of fabric here. This is all ventilation. So if you're a sweaty person, and it's worth it. Emmett is pointing at himself. I would fully agree with that because he was probably the most disgusting person I've ever hiked behind in my life. That's not true, Emmett, I'm sorry. I've hiked behind some pretty disgusting people. But if you're a sweaty person, you're gonna be nasty wet all the time, maybe $700 is what you wanna spend to not sweat. But you're probably still gonna sweat. But it definitely had ventilation like crazy. I mean, that's probably 2 inches between this back panel and the inside back part of the backpack, which is also a good thing because that means that anything inside of the backpack isn't going to be poking and pushing to where you're going to feel it on your back. So your back is resting and pushing on this back part here, not on the actual part of the backpack that's holding all of your gear, so you're not going to feel your gear on the inside. So what is this backpack made out of? It's made out of a 200 denier nylon where it's all blue, and then on the back, or on the bottom here, this black part where you would slam it down on the ground and maybe drag it on a rock or whatever. This is 500 denier nylon. So this is like, I don't know, pretty resistant and resilient to scratches and rips and tears. So if you're bushwhacking and that kind of thing, I wouldn't worry about it at all. They also have this water bottle, or this side mesh pouch here, where you could stick a water bottle here. So the water bottle will go in here and it kind of angles forward so you can reach it really easily here. It's not on this side. And so my thought on that is maybe this is their thought too, is that in order to balance out the backpack a little better for people that have like a Nalgene or something over here, they're gonna put a bunch of stuff in this side. I don't know, balance it out, but I guess why not just make it on both sides? But these side pockets are enormous, super stretchy, very durable fabric. So the only negative that I really found to this here was that when I had a longer bottle, I had a 1.5 liter Smart Water bottle here, and then I had another bottle here. I think I had a 1 liter bottle, and then I also was kind of swapping it out with my Grail water filter. Is that it was almost too much. So there were times when I actually had to ask Emmett to hand me the water bottle. So that was kind of frustrating, but that was more my fault because I was probably using the wrong size bottle. Let's talk about the back of the backpack here. The back of the backpack. Say that 10 times fast. On other backpacks, you're gonna see, especially more of the ultralight stuff, you're gonna see that mesh material here where you can just cram and shove as much stuff down here as you possibly can get. And that's really nice because you can just cram stuff in there. This has a zipper here that's covered. Okay, so it doesn't need like a waterproof zipper here. It's got a 200 denier nylon going over the zipper here where you can reach in and put in a ton of gear, but it's not stretchy at all. And then on this side, it's got another one, but they cross. So they're not the same pocket. So there's a piece of material in here that's dividing the two. So that's kind of nice because it almost doubles this whole area here to be able to put twice as much in here. I would have liked to see this be stretchy on the outside because then I can get more stuff in there. Now this is a DWR coating on the outside of this backpack, so it is going to be very water resistant. That's why they have waterproof zippers along the top here. And then they also have a waterproof zipper here on the hip belt pouch. But they've also included a rain cover, which I'm not a big rain cover guy, but I brought it just because I wanted to be able to try it out. And I just hung this backpack on a tree outside of my tent and then covered it like this for the night. We didn't expect rain, but you know, that's kind of nice that they include that. A lot of companies will make a really expensive backpack and then make you buy the rain cover separately for 700 bucks. That's right, you better include a rain cover. And if you're wondering why I didn't put my backpack in my vestibule in my tent, it's because my tent didn't have a vestibule. I do like that it seems to have like almost a separate frame on the inside here, if you can see that. So it sort of keeps the backpack's shape pulled out. You can adjust that by using the compression straps and then just cranking that down however you want. You know, if you like the backpack a little bit more compressed or towards you or whatever while you're hiking, or if you maybe don't have that much stuff in there, you can definitely do that. Okay, let's talk about attention to detail here. According to their website, pretty much everything plastic on here, for the most part, is injection molded, which is nice. So it's designed specifically for this backpack. Everything from these little clasps here for your water bladder tube to the bottom of the backpack where they have these sort of hard corners here. So when you stand up the backpack on something, it's not gonna hurt the bottom of the backpack. So that's really cool. Also, this lumbar support, is it a gimmick? I don't know. Probably not. I try to lean towards things be kind of gimmicky just so they can sell some stuff. But this is a 3D printed lumbar support. And it's made by Carbon DLS. And it is extremely comfortable. It feels sort of rubbery, but it is very soft and very ventilated and just obviously very form-fitting to your back. So when I had this on, very, very comfortable.
Like a glove.
Is it a gimmick? I don't know. We have 3D printed lumbars on our backpacks. That's why they're $700. I mean, that's kind of how I felt when I heard that. I don't know. I've backpacked for years without a 3D printed lumbar and been just fine. That's all I'm saying. Okay. my back still works. But it is attention to detail. Now, there's a video on their website that their owner narrates. He talks about that they didn't consider cost when they built this backpack, when they designed this backpack. It was just like, hey, there's all these new technologies out there and we want to just see what we can do with it all. So forget how much it's going to cost us to make this backpack. We're just going to make this backpack, and whatever we come up with, we're going to let the designers go nuts, and they're going to come up with this. And they went nuts and came up with this. So this is like a backpack designer's dream, I guess. If you're sitting behind a computer all day designing backpacks, you get to make something. You're like, wow, I don't have a budget. This is great. Hey, Steve, grab the 3D printer. No problem, Bob. Coming right over. It's got straps down here if you want to attach maybe a sleeping pad or a tent to the outside of your backpack. You can certainly do that. I always appreciate that in all my backpacks whenever there's some sort of a loop here to be able to do that. Probably the biggest deal about this backpack, besides that it's, you know, made out of like space age materials from Mars, is that this is by far, like by a landslide, the most comfortable backpack I have ever put on. Probably the biggest concern that anybody has with a backpack right out the gate, especially if you're a newer backpacker, is you want that backpack to be comfortable. You already know you're hiking a good distance wherever you're trying to get to, and you don't want to carry a heavy load. And if you've got a bunch of heavy gear, you want that backpack to do it and carry it in such a way that you're not going to feel it as much. That is certainly where this backpack shines. It did it better than any backpack I have ever used. This hip belt is also like, it feels like it's limitlessly, is that a word? It's endlessly, infinitely adjustable. Not really, but it's got a lot of adjustments. So this will, you could slide it in, pull it out to whatever size, you know, your hip is. Maybe you had a lot of Burger King that morning, I don't know. Anyway, man, so the hip belt, it was like you could crank this thing down, and wherever you cranked it to, it actually stayed there. It wasn't like 2 miles later, you're like, oh, this thing loosened up on me. It was locked in, and it was comfortable too. It didn't feel like it was, you know, squeezing you to death. It was just so good, so nice. And then a lot of people's fear, I feel like, with the backpack is being able to adjust the backpack for them. A lot of people don't know how to properly adjust a backpack. This is almost like an auto. Emmett is certainly pointing at himself. It literally will adjust itself. All you do is pull these two load lifter straps here, and it just does it. So I've got like no weight in here at all. I've just got a sleeping bag that weighs like 2 pounds, and that's about it. But just so you can sort of see how easily this thing adjusts. I mean, it's like, I don't know how to describe this. Just listen to that. Could you hear that? Like just zipping in on you? And then you're like, oh, that feels really good. For 700, ooh, yeah, for like 700 bucks, it better feel good. Okay, see how this shoulder strap is off of my shoulder here? That's really easy to adjust, but it's easier if you do take off the backpack here. So the top of your backpack, you can line it up on both sides, just kind of with these arrows here. You pull on this and it raises and lowers, you know, the backpack shoulder strap along the frame here, the aluminum frame, to wherever you want it. So that way it's just got this perfect fit. So when you put it on, everything should just fit right over your shoulders. And then you just pull this here, and I can't explain it to you. It literally, it's almost like it just vacuum seals to you. That's really the best way to describe it. And then when it's on, it stays there. And the frame is like, it bends with you. So whatever you're doing, the backpack just sort of, I don't know how they did it. It's crazy. Carrying the load was phenomenal in this backpack. So about 1.5 years ago, I made a video. It's called The Biggest Bang for Your Buck. I made a whole video where you can buy your entire backpacking loadout, including your backpack, all good stuff, and all stuff that would get you down to 30 degrees Fahrenheit comfortably for $700 for the price of this backpack. So if you've got the money, maybe this thing is worth it to you. Would I buy this backpack? No, I would not buy this backpack because of the price. If this backpack was more reasonable on price, more affordable for me, where I could justify like it, maybe. So will you see me using this backpack ever again? I don't know. Honestly, probably not. My gear is also pretty lightweight, so I don't need a backpack that's this heavy for the most part, unless I'm carrying a ton of camera gear, so maybe in that situation. But then when I was hiking, I honestly was watching guys pass me by that had like ultralight setups, like a Gossamer gear and Granite gear and a hyperlight backpack. I saw one guy with a Z-Packs backpack, and I was like, man, I kind of miss my ultralight setup. I missed the ultralight backpack, the simplicity of it. But I guess that just takes getting used to such a feature-rich backpack as well. So, bottom line, should you buy this backpack at a $700 price? If you're planning on using it as a laundry basket, Emmett, no, you should not. You should buy it if you won the lottery, though. We'll see you guys on the next one.